everyone, and welcome to another live stream question time. We haven't done one of these for a few weeks, apologies for that. But we're here now live, and we're taking your questions about game development, Unreal Engine, or whatever it is that you want to ask for the next hour or so. So first of all, I want to say hello to everyone live watching this in chat. Hello ZTA TV, Manuel Jimenez, Avedon, David Potts, Ashen Samurai, hello, Bartosus, hello. Hello, familiar faces, and hello the new ones too. If you don't know how this works, all you have to do is put your question into chat, and I'll try and grab as many as I can within the hour or so that we're here. If I don't get to your question or miss it completely, don't fret, just put it into chat again, and I'll try and catch it next time. If I can't catch your question, don't worry, we'll do this again in the future, hopefully weekly, and we can answer it then too. But yeah, first things first, before we go into question time in proper, I wanted to make an announcement about a new class session that's happening on Saturday. So Saturday is the pilot of a new type of content for my Patreon members. So you can be any Patreon tier from $1 all the way up, and you can watch this and be part of this new live stream happening on Saturday. And it's going to be a live class, unlike what we normally would do. You'll be given a project, and you'll be following along, and you'll be given an assignment to complete afterwards as well. And this weekend we're doing all about widgets. So if you want to learn about widgets in Unreal Engine 5 and take part in trying to better your skills in it, then come along and join and sign up to patreon.com/Ryan from just $1 and you get access to the whole thing. Now, if you can't make the session live, don't worry. If you're a gold member or higher, you get access to the video on demand as well. So this is a pilot, so we'll see how it goes, and if it's something that people like and they like the format, it's something we'll keep doing on a regular basis. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's jump straight in and to answering some questions. Apologies, it is so hot here. The UK is a very hot place at the moment. Yeah. Oh, that's great to hear, Nomad. Let's say, if you don't know, my background is teaching. I used to be a teacher. Yeah, that maze thing was something I did in the classroom. It's just something I filmed then afterwards. But yeah. ZTA TV, I'm interested in one-to-one session. I emailed you the other day. I know I'm still playing catch up with some of my emails since I just got back from the States last week. I'm still playing catch up with messages and emails, and that, so I will get to it. Apologies for the delay in that. It's been a busy old time since I got back. Would love to see your way of implementation of a tactical pause like Mass Effect games. Okay, interesting. Yeah, we can have a crack at that in a second. I think that'd be quite fun to try and figure out. Something I haven't done before, but I'm happy to try out new things. Nassar is asking, do you know how to make an enemy walks into the kitchen, cooks food, then he grabs dish and walks to the living room to eat, and then he goes to sleep, but once he saw her play, he will attack me? Kind of, yeah. It's a bit of a setup, but yes, you can do so. You basically have it run one behavior tree, which is its like pattern, like routine type of thing. And then when it sees a player, then you interrupt with another behavior tree, and it'll kick off and do other stuff. As a side thing, I'm also developing a new AI thing to put on the marketplace and give to Patreon members as well. It's called Easy AI, which tackles similar concepts. So you'll probably see it in that, but yeah, it's an interesting one to try and make. Yeah, 41 degrees centigrade it was yesterday. Hot. I couldn't work in the office. I literally worked on emails for like 5 minutes, and I had to get out because I was sweating. I had to cancel my sessions yesterday, and well, not cancel, but postpone them. But yeah, it's a nightmare. Okay, so let's take a look at Avedon's suggestion of a tactical pause like Mass Effect. So it's been a while since I've played Mass Effect, but it's when you like in action, you pause the game, and it allows you then to aim or choose what you want to do next in your actions. Okay, so obviously we can't do the full thing that they do because that's going to take a lot longer than an hour. But what we could do is if I go to my third person blueprints. Okay, and in here I want to set up a system for me to be able to pause the game first of all. Now, when you're pausing the game, I recommend you don't put it on the character. Instead, put it on the controller instead. Now, the default projects don't come with a controller already made, so we're going to make it. Player controller. My player controller. And I'm going to assign that to our game mode here as player controller class. A player controller. Okay, so next we're going to go and open this up and set up the pause function first of all. So pausing will do. I'll do as a tab key. Fine. I'll tell you what would be easier to do. Tab. Okay, and to pause the game, it's pretty simple. We just pause, and you'll see set game paused. Okay, and we're gonna make it flip flop between the two. Now we're gonna go get pause, and you'll get no, is I'll just type in pause. Is game pause. There we go. Is game paused, and we're gonna knock that. And it basically just flip-flops the boolean between true and false, and so on and so forth. That's all you got to do there. Now, when you do pause this, you want to make sure that the tab key still works whilst it is in pause mode. So with events like this, you go over to the right-hand side, you'll see execute when paused. Tick that, and now that event will still work while the game's paused. So, in theory, if that's all done correctly, I should be able to go up like this and pause it with my tab key. Okay? And then restart it. So we've got a tactical pause like that. Now, if you want to do a pause where you actually pauses the game, great, you can do it like that. But sometimes in some games you may want to do a time dilation. So rather than pausing the game, time slows very much so. So it became almost like a pause, but still moving very slowly. You can totally do that as well. So rather than doing set game pause, you're going to do time dilation. And you can set the global time dilation. I always forget which way this number goes. But let's go in 0.1. Let's see what that does. It might go wrong. No, that's right. So there you go. Okay, so you can do a similar sort of thing to make it go slow-mo instead. Which could be quite cool as an effect for a tactical, a semi-tactical pause. So I'm going to do 0.01, so very slow. But I do want to flip-flop between this, so we can't use the is game pause because that's a built-in function, and there is no built-in function for global time dilation stuff. So what we're going to do in here is make a new variable and do is tactical mode, and we're going to drag that out, and we're going to do set, plug that in here, and then we're going to take it out again, do get, and then not it this one. Now again, flip-flop it from true to false and false to true. And so when it does that, I've now got time dilation here. I'm going to do select float, and we're going to plug that into our pick A. So when it's true, our value of A is going to be 0.01, and when it's B, false, and value 1. Goes back to normal speed. So now I should be able to turn off and on my time dilation. So very slow, still moving. Very, very slowly. Now I push it again to resume. Okay? So you can do proper like Max Payne-y type gameplay. You can also use this for all sorts of things. Okay? But put all this note, when you're in that slow-mo, the rest of your functionality is still working because it's not paused, so all your inputs and actions are still going to work. You can still rotate the camera, you can still shoot your gun, you can still do all that stuff. But bear that in mind if you are using time dilation rather than pausing. And so you may have to turn things off or do a constant check to see whether or not you are in tactical mode. So let's go ahead and add in some tactical element of this. Now when we go into tactical mode in a sort of RPG sort of setting, like this, I want to kind of like free up the mouse so I can click on something like an enemy or target and make it shoot or hit the target or run to it or whatever. Obviously I don't have no combat in this. This is just a blank third-person character template. But what I'm going to do is make it so when I click on a location, he's going to run to that location, and it's going to end tactical pause and go to that location. Okay, and that kind of does the same sort of thing, the same process needed to make him attack things or go to cover or whatever. So in our player controller, when we do this, we want to enable or disable my mouse cursor. So we do set show mouse cursor, and put that on here, and this is going to be the same as our tactical mode. So when we're in tactical mode, we can see the mouse cursor, and when we can't, and when we're not in a tactical mode, we can't. So tab, and there's my mouse cursor. I can see it now. Okay. Now when I'm also in tactical mode here, probably don't want to be able to pan the camera around like this. Okay. So I do want to disable that. Now you may want to do a simple global function that you can access anywhere to make it super easy for any actor to tell whether or not you're in tactical mode. So the way we're going to do this is with a blueprint function library. And if we go in here, we go common functions. And in here, we're going to create one called is in tactical mode. And in here, all we're going to do is get player controller, cast to my player controller, and go is tactical yet. And now got a simple function to return whether or not we are in tactical mode. Drag that to there. Now if I make this a pure function as well, it becomes even easier, because now on my third person character, if I want to add that function in, I just go is in tactical mode, and there it is, and it comes up like this. So I've got a simple boolean check saying yes, I'm in tactical mode, no I'm not. But when I am, I can then use that to control whether or not I want to move the camera. So we go to the camera stuff, there it is, and we'll just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, and we're going to put that into a branch for both of these. Oh, wrong one. False. So again, I'm going to test each stage. So as I'm adding new features, I'm going to be testing all the time. So I've made that functionality in there now, so I'm going to test it, go into tactical mode, and now I can't move the mouse, but I can't rotate the camera until I go back out of tactical mode, and I can now camera again. Okay, really cool. So now let's go ahead so we can click on the environment. So in my third person, sorry, my player controller, we're going to do a left mouse button click. And again, I only want this to happen in tactical mode. Now I could use that function I made, or I can just use the variable because I've got it right here anyway. So we'll just put that in there like so. Is in tactical mode. Carry on. And we want this to get the location of in the environment. So we're going to do hit result under cursor by channel, and we can use visibility, and we've got hit result here. Put this in take that out, break, and we want to get a location. Now when you're tapping on the screen or clicking on the screen, you want to get a location that AI can reach. Now if we were to give it just the pure location here, you get some issues, because if you tap somewhere that the AI can't reach, it's not going to go there. But we still want it to work, so it's going to estimate roughly where you want to go. So what I recommend you do is with the location here is you'd use random there you go, random reachable point in radius. So if you can get to it, you'll find it. So the radius here we'll do as something that's quite small. We'll do maybe 100, maybe less, but we'll start with 100. And that's our random location now. Okay. And this we're going to store as a value. Right to variable, and we'll go tactical I don't know, command. I don't know, whatever. And this similar sort of thing works for like attacking and things like that. So you just do hit actors and see if you're hitting actors, and then you add them to your attack row. And this will be eventually like a if you want it so that you set up like a chain of things to happen, then this would be like an array that it will go through, and it'll check what the arrays are doing. A combination of an array and a struct, I would imagine. But it's something I haven't done before, so it would involve a bit of testing out. I've got tactical command there now, and when I get out of there, I now want to leave my tactical mode. So on the tab here, rather than using tab directly into this, it's actually quite a good idea to separate that and make a custom event to do tactical mode and put it in there. And then in a tab key can toggle that tactical mode off and on. And the benefit this means is that now my tactical mode command is callable from anywhere else. So I can just go from my left mouse button here and just drag out tactical mode. There you go, and it'll toggle it off. Okay, so again, testing it frequently. Go out here and jump in the air. Now click over here, and there you go, resumes. Obviously, it's not going to do anything just yet, but we've got something there. Okay, so once we've got tactical mode enabled back again, we want it to actually start make it move to executing those commands. So we're going to do another custom event to execute command. Now when we want to execute commands, we actually need to take control away from the player and give it to AI instead, because the AI is the one that's got to move, shoot, go to places, pick up things, whatever it may be. So we can use execute command here, and in here we're going to check to see whether tactical command has been set. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I want to check to see that this is not equal to 0, 0. Okay, not equal to 0, 0, 0, meaning that I've actually set something to it. Put that into. Okay. Now when I do this, it's then going to take away control. So to do that, we have to basically unpossess the player character. So we get player character, and we need to unpossess it. But before we do that, we need to store a reference to it, because as soon as we unpossess it, it's going to be quite hard to get hold of that reference again. So we're going to promote that to a variable, call that one player character, and we're going to drag out and do unpossess. Oh wait, no, sorry, just from here. There we go. So this controller is no longer in control of that character, but we want this player character to have AI. So you drag it out now, and here you do spawn default controller. And when you do that, that default controller is going to be spawning, which is the AI controller, and it's going to be possessing it straight away. We can then use that to tell it to do its stuff. Okay, and this one, I keep it very simple. We're going to go and tell our character here to move to. So player character, we do AI move to, and we'll plug that into there. This is actually the pawn, not the world context object, and the destination is my tactical command, like so. And when it's successful, I want to unpossess it again and tell it to possess with this player controller. Well, I actually don't have to tell it to unpossess, I just need to tell it to possess it. So you get that and do possess, and we've now, on success, got control back to our player character. And this execute command we're going to call at the end of this. I see there is chat going on, by the way. I will get back to it in a second. We're almost done. I'll save. Okay, so to recap, when I go into tactical mode, we're enabling this event here, and we're flip-flopping a boolean on or off. This will change the global time dilation by either 0.01 or 1.0. And then we've got a basic thing to say, show the mouse cursor or not. In our left mouse button, when we click, we are telling it to say, if we're in tactical mode, to restore the location underneath the cursor. And then we're going to go and leave tactical mode. But as we're leaving tactical mode, we're going to execute a command saying, hey, we're going to go to this location. This location is first going to be checked to see whether or not it is not equal to 0. Otherwise, it means you just turned it off. And then we're going to tell the player character here to be stored as a reference first. And again, the reason why we do this is because I need a reference later on for this and to give player control back. And I can't do this again because get player character will return nothing because I'm not possessed anything. So you do need to store it. And that will unpossess it, spawn the AI controller, move it, and then repossess it again on this. So to make this actually work, I need to put a nav mesh in my scene. Otherwise, it will not work at all. Nav mesh bounce volume. and make sure that's covering the scene. Yep, basically. Okay, fingers crossed. Let's see if this works. So jump and then click. Hey, there he goes. And unpossessing. The camera has unpossessed, and the reason why it does that is because when you unpossess, the camera by default is set to automatically change who is it following. So if we want to make it so we follow our character, on the player controller you have a setting on the class defaults for auto manage active camera target. We just turn that off. But this does mean, I think at start you have to tell it which camera to use. Yeah, you do. Okay, so we're going to go into third person character gameplay, and we'll do get player controller set view target with blend, new view target itself, and okay, so now it won't unpossess the camera either. So like normal, and I go up, and I click over here. It shouldn't unpossess it. Why is it doing that? Maybe the unpossess is really breaking it. Let's just tell it after that to set the view target back to that. So set view target with blend and put in the player character again. File. And right, so up we go and click E. There you go. I'm not controlling it. It's AI. Done. Okay. So you do something similar for like attacking. You have to build an AI behavior tree to do all that stuff. But you'll see here as well. If I'm on here, because there's no way to connect this to the world. If I jump and click, nothing would happen because he can't reach that point. However, if I were to put in a navlink proxy. Where the hell did they put it on this thing? And let's go place actors panel. I can search for them. Here we are. That in. Here. Is it set to both ways automatically? Yeah. Yeah. So we got the route here. If I then go into that again. Okay, and then jump and then click. My character will fall off now because it has a way to link the two together. So you get around weird issues like that using navlink. There we go, a simple tactical pause. That's quite cool. That might be something that wants a fuller system. Quite fun. Anyway, let's take another question. Do you have a tutorial on how to make AI use doors? Not a tutorial. I've done it in a question time. I have no idea which one. So a door, it depends on how advanced you want the AI to be. Let's make a quick door. I'm not gonna make the full thing, but just to show you a few things. I'll just make that a frame. Door frame. And door. Okay. I think this door, by the way, doesn't have any collision by default. Add a box collision. Okay, so when you're making a door, like so, you can see it blocks the nav mesh, okay, which is a problem because then how does the AI know how to get through it? Well, there's two things you can do. One, if the door, you can make the door automatic, so the door will open as soon as anyone enters it, or any pawn enters its vicinity, which is the easiest way, but you still have the problem of how to connect the two together. The easiest thing to do is you just go into your door blueprint, go to the door mesh, and underneath the details you'll search the word nav, and you'll see can ever affect navigation. Turn that off, compile it, and you can see now we've got a pathway going through the door. So AI will now see that as a valuable path, a valid path. So all you have to do is make it so that when it's close to it, the door will open. That's the easiest method. Otherwise, you're using smart links and getting the character to go up to a specific location to push a button, open the door handle, whatever, and then doing this. But you'll need a smart nav link, which is way too much work to do in a question time live stream like this, but this is close enough. Okay. David Potts JRPG specific battle encounters with specific battle setups. So the JRPG series is going to be having a couple of extra episodes recorded soon, covering a few requested features. I can add that to the list. I don't think that's on the list currently, but I'll add it on there. It's a good one to do because we can do the boss type fight. Can you replicate root motion montages? So you don't replicate with all animations. You don't replicate the animation. You're replicating what triggers the animation. So with the root motion montage, you're replicating the cause of that animation going off. Okay. So there's no real like replication of animations, so to speak. IoT3858 in a nutshell: how to update text on an actor from an enum switch statement. Recommend using arrays or I guess other method. How to update text on an actor from an enum switch statement. Okay, I'm gonna make something. You tell me if it's what you're trying to do. So I'll just do it on my door here. So I make an enum. Blueprints, enumeration, IoT, and in now I'm gonna add meters a pink, blue, green, purple, and yellow. Okay, so in a basic enumeration. So on my door, oh, not that one. On my door blueprint, we'll add a text render. And in there, we've got this text field, like so. And we'll make it center align, like so. And so if I want to change what this text says based on that enum, I can just go to the variables, add the enum. Yeah, type EIOT. And we'll make it editable and compile that. And then on my construction script, I'm going to take out my text render and do set text. Ooh. And then in the value here, I can drag out the enum. And because you're using an enum, you can do a conversion to convert it to this. Now, a straight conversion doesn't work, but what you can do is turn it to a string first, and then you can convert it to a text. And now, I go to my world here, pink is the option. And because I made that enum public and editable here, I can choose blue, and it'll change to blue, green, purple, and so on and so forth. Yellow, yeah. Is that what you're trying to do? This is the easy. This will be the quickest way of doing what you're trying to do. I think what it sounds like. What about when you drop it from like an actor? So if you're dropping it in the world, you just make the enum here expose on spawn. But then when I want to spawn this like door, for example, on another actor, you spawn actor from class. We'll choose what's it called, new blueprint. And on here, you'll see I've got the enum picker here. I can choose one manually, or if I want to randomize it, I can do random array item. From that, or no, sorry. Random. I've forgotten how you do it. Random enum now. I think you do a random byte and then byte. No, what is it? That's it, and then randomize this. Random. Okay. I swear you could do a random enum. Oh. What am I thinking of? Well, I've done it before. I mean, we could do a random int and range. That would be a way of doing it. Random int. Oh, I swear there's a way to do it with the actual values. And you convert that to a byte. And then you turn that to an enum. Go to plug there. So now it randomized now which one of those it'll use. Yeah. Well, that'd be the way to do it. Farah. Hi, I'm new in game dev. It's okay to look online for anything and not rely on yourself. I know, I think I'm not advancing at all. How did you learn? Any tips, please? The first tip is to do it every day. Make stuff every day, do stuff every day, try to learn new stuff every day. I don't know everything. I'm still figuring stuff out and learning new stuff all the time. And it's important that you keep that mentality up as well. And also keep the mentality that you're not ever going to know everything. Once you get that in your head, then you'll be probably a lot more comfortable with what you're trying to do. So with that aside, use it every day. And when you're learning this stuff, understand what is actually going on here. So what does this node actually do? What did each of these settings actually do? So play about with them, change the numbers, see what happens. And if you want to see what the numbers do, try extreme values so you can see what happens. Once you start understanding what the terminology being used is like, it makes it a lot easier. And that's how I like learning, and say learning nodes. And I say there's no way in hell I know all the nodes. So what I'm doing here is I search for keywords. As you just saw with me trying to find a random enum, you just search for keywords. So I was looking for random, and I'll go enum, and I'm like, okay, I've got some options here, but not what I need. Okay, you just type whatever like. If you want to do anything with location, search for location, and you'll find options in here. And this is going to show you the ones that are relevant to the actor that you're currently on. If you want to search the whole library of functions, just turn off context sensitive, and you'll now see every function with a location on it. And so you can easily find what you're trying to find. Okay, and read what it says. It will tell you what it does most of the time. Here, you'll see that this checks the location service on the mobile device I enabled for this application. So if I want to use GPS, I'll need to use that to determine whether or not I'm using GPS stuff. Okay, so it's a matter of just experimenting, trying out new things, but also not trying to go too big too fast. Like when you're first starting out in game dev, you're not going to be making anything like really super impressive. You're not going to go nuts with making an RPG or anything like that. Start small. Should start small. Very, very small. So like a simple system, a simple mechanic. Don't worry if the game's bad. Your first game will always be bad. Your second game will probably always be bad too. But understand that it's not about the success you get from it, it's what you learn from it. And by making games as simple games as they are, you'll learn so much more than just following tutorials and try to make something big. Like I've seen tutorial series where they go, okay, we'll make an MMORPG, and it's like, don't. There's way too much going on involved, and if you are having to rely on a tutorial series to make something that complex, then you're not ready for it. Yeah. You want to get and eventually you want to get to the point where, and well, the next question follow up to that would be like, how do you know when you're ready? How do you know you know enough to make something? If you're able to get to the point of like what I'm doing, where I will troubleshoot and brainstorm ideas live in front of you. Okay, so I'm able, when people phone me response or a demand or something, I can sit and try and figure it out. Okay, by piecing things together, what would I would do. When you get to that position, you can consider yourself pretty good, because you now can take initiative and solve problems. And that's all game programming is solving problems in sometimes creative ways. So top tips: keep using it. Don't be afraid to keep using it. Don't worry about failure. Your first games are going to fail. Accept it. But more importantly, understand what it is you're actually doing. Don't just follow a tutorial blindly. Try to get some context understanding. And I try to do. I like to think I try to do that in my stuff, in my live streams and my tutorial series. But if I fail you and don't cover that information, please do let me know and say, like, can you explain X, Y, Z better? And I'm happy to try and do so better next time. Okay. Because I do want people to come away understanding the engine more, or understanding these concepts more. Okay. Hence why we do these question times, where people can probe for further questioning and so forth. ZTA Fireteam Tutorial Episode 2. Aim offset only worked for listen player. Client player cannot see the aim offset, while listen player can. How can I fix this server issue? I need to take a look at this, my copy of it, and make sure that's working there. But it would probably be like the aim offset has been recorded with the rotation from the tick event of each client. So the clients need to update their controllers inputs. No, hang on. What do they need to do? You need to make some sort of timer, which yeah, you'll need to make a sort of timer which will send the rotation value to the server frequently and update it there. You can't use replicated variables because the client is updating that value, not the server, and the clients can't do multicast or replicated values. So you're limited in that sense. And what you may want to do is use a timer and then lerp between the different values you get, so you get smooth movement. I'll have to have a look at my one and try and make a video of it. But yeah. I also hope you had a great time in New York. I did. It was very fun. Looking forward to ESPN Epic teaser and your trip video. Yeah, it was great. It was good fun. Yeah, if you don't know what I did last week, so last week I went to New York to do some work for Epic, in presenting and demoing Unreal Engine 5 to some broadcast executives and people in there in broadcast. So I personally sat down with NBC Universal and showed them what we could do with Unreal Engine 5 with terms of live production and real-time rendering stuff over the course of 2 days. And so that was lots of fun, and it was great to meet people as well, from the people I've worked with and people I've spoken to literally on Slack or Zoom. But it's good to meet up with people, and also just good to be outside. To be honest, like after the pandemic, being stuck inside for so long, it's kind of nice to actually just talk to people. But yeah, it was good. I had a couple of days to do 1.5 days to do tourist-like things. But yeah, good. But yeah, I will be putting together the trip video hopefully soon. Hi again from Avidan. How can you use AI Move 2 with airborne characters like drones? Right, so flying AI is an absolute pain because there's no built-in way to do a 3D navigational mesh movement. However, saying that, there is a way you can cheat it. Well, there's 2 ways you can cheat it. So let's make my drone character. Okay, and let's add a simple cube and drone. Okay. There we go. That'll do. So one way of doing this is a bit of a cheeky way. You can fake the drone flying around by making this capsule quite tall. So you can go to like maybe 150, make it quite tall, put this drone at the top of the capsule like this, and you make it walk around on this big capsule thing here. And you can put a material or make this animate going up and down, hovering, whatever you want. But that would work. So for example, let's just do a quick example here. A quick custom event move, and we'll do AI move to self nation random point in reach radius origin get actor location radius here of like 2000 to go quite far, and then we want to also get random reachable point in radius. Rather than doing that, let's do random point in navigable radius instead. I'll explain why in a second. We'll put that in there and put that in there. Okay, so that'll do that, and on success then we'll just call move again. Okay, so it just does this on our loop, and on here we'll just take. Okay, so this thing, when I drag it into the scene, let's just get rid of this door thing. Is our drone. There he is. And he's now flying around the map. Okay, so that's one way to fake it. Okay. Without having three-dimensional nav mesh. It's the moment you want it to do like go through tunnels and upside, it makes it a bit trickier. But and a lot more work. But this is a cheat way of doing it. Another cheat way of doing it is to oh, sorry, another way of doing this, by the way, if we change cat movement here to, oh no, we'll leave it like that. Yeah, so another actually make it slower so you can see it's working a bit better. 300, there we go. So that's one cheap way of doing it. The yeah, it works. Tool capsule, it works. It's fine. And if you want, you can be clever with it as well, and you can make it so it gets like the drone gets lower to go underneath stuff. You can crouch basically. So it's a great little trick you can do. But another thing you can do, if you don't want to do it that way around, is you can do a pawn, and add a mesh to this cube. And then we want floating pawn movement, like so. Default speed, yep, and yep, okay, cool. And then yeah, on here we're gonna do something very similar. We're just gonna do, I'm gonna copy this actually. Great match function. Okay, right, so that's that one. So like that. Ah, because I've got this. Right, there you go. So I've put the same code on this one instead, but rather than using AI move 2 here, we're going to use a different one. We're going to use AI move and do move to location or actor. And when you have this, if you expand open advanced options, you can turn off use pathfinding. And what that will do is it'll make it fly around the map. But the problem with this it does mean it won't see walls and things like that. It will just go straight through. So goal location there. On move finished, we'll go there again. Yeah, okay. Oh, yep. Get AI controller. Okay. And then if I chuck him into the scene, I should make him a lot slower because he can go really fast. Hold on. Speed 300. So that one's flying around. This one, why not flying around? Oh. What if I just told you to get to play a character rather than do random location? Oop. Why aren't you working? Right one, isn't it? Move to. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of this one. No, not that one. Move to. That's the same thing as that. Fly, walk, all of that. I don't know. I've had it working before, but yeah, it basically ignores collisions, so it just goes through stuff, which is annoying. Maybe better not to affect nav mesh because maybe it's getting affected by it. Oh, I know why. Yeah. And a pawn. Oh, I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, you can do. Yeah. UB20 tips for starting with C++. Learn C++ first, then worry about games later. I get a lot of people asking me like, can you show me how to do C++? And I'll say to them like, learn C++ first, and then you can tackle the engine stuff. Once you know how C++ works, pointers and so forth, as Barter sustain, it makes it a lot easier. So yeah, learn normal C++, and there's tons of websites for that, books, websites, videos, all sorts. So check them out. I'll be doing a series at some point where I'll talk about that stuff. But yeah. Nigel John, how can you reduce the gap between nav mesh and an object? Not remove, but reduce so that AI can move closer. So you're talking about things like this, where there's a gap between these two. Yeah. So you find that in your nav mesh settings, in the project settings. I believe it's here anyway. And then down here you'll find navigation on mesh. And you've got a load of different settings here. So you've got cell size, cell height, agent radius, agent height, and so on and so forth. But there is a you want to do agent radius, I think it is. You turn that down, and we just go down here so I can see it working here. 10. No, it's not that one. Hang on. Just to double check it's not actually on the nav mesh itself. I don't think it was. No. One of these settings here, I can't recall which one. why it was there. Hold on, I'll quick. Yeah, it is agent radius. Okay. But agent just means like the eye itself. I'm not too sure why I can't get that change here. Maybe I have to turn off the preview. No, I don't know. Why is that not working? Previewing. Change. I should see something happen. Where's time? The answer is agent radius, but I don't know why it's not updating the view of it. Because the way you think about it with agent radius, like if you think about your character as they got like the roots at the middle, and then they got a radius for their width of their capsule. That radius between the width of the capsule, you don't want to be next to the wall because otherwise they'll get stuck on the wall. So it borders that width here. So when you make it smaller, that should get smaller too. But yeah, it's not. Might be because this guy, because these also have agent radius on it as well. Oh, it's it. Might as well just going to use the default one. That is. I don't know. Yeah, that's the answer to it. I just don't know why it's not showing. Move this maybe to update it. Not in here, is it? No. Don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep investigating it because that is what it is. What it does. But yeah. Hello. When I set this is from Mohammed. Hello. When I set the game state, camera doesn't work. Camera is placed in world. By means they don't work, I'm guessing you have to tell it to actually use it and possess it. So I actually demonstrated that in here on player character. You have to use this node here from the player controller. Okay, get player controller, set view target blend, and then plug in whatever the camera is into here. This can be done on the level blueprint, for example, or anything else you want. Okay, so just do that. Um. You don't need a player. You can do it in the world. You put it on a level blueprint and just plug in the camera reference here. So, for example, rather than putting this here, that from there, and put a camera in. Camera actor. Okay, up here. Like so, and then my level blueprint in play. And the new view target won't be yourself, obviously, but it'd be the reference to the camera actor in the world. Just plug that in, like that, and then you play. Camera be here. I can still control the character in this case, but it's a locked camera point of view. Okay. Barter says, I was following your online sessions tutorial in Unreal 5. When I tried to connect with my friend, created sessions are not visible. I checked the logs and Steam found 33 sessions, but none were matching. I mean, there could be so many things that could be wrong with that. Hard to know for certain. Could be your settings for logging onto Steam, like the client to test that app isn't set up correctly. It could be that the I mean, if you're creating 33 sessions probably refers to the ones using the same thing as maybe I'm not too sure. It could be all sorts of things wrong with it. Like it could be just a simple UI thing that you haven't told it to show the UI. So again, I'll put it here. When you do find sessions on success, this is when you want to update the user interface to show those sessions. So that's done. Other than that, it's hard to say about actually seeing it, unfortunately, Butters. Mohammed, camera works, but not when game state is set. What do you mean the game state set? There's always a game state. Like if I go to my game mode, there's a game state here. I mean, if we make a new game state, that shouldn't affect. It does. Also, Butters, it does take a while, like a few seconds for it to find the sessions. Make sure you plugged it on success, not the top bit, but the actual on success. But yeah, Mohammed, if I'm making a new game state, it works still. This is what you're talking about. A new blueprint 3. Like that, there's nothing in the game state that tells it to affect camera stuff, so I don't know. Anything weird there. Avidan, any chance you're going to do some Niagara tutorials in the future? Yeah, I've done a couple. I'll be doing some more. But yep. Any plans doing a series with Steam dedicated server along with Steam transaction integration? If I can afford the dedicated server, yep. It's just a cost. Yeah, it costs one. How to make simple, nice graphics? Be a good artist. I don't know. I'm not an artist myself. I barely. Yeah, no. So can't unfortunately answer that one. But most things, how to get better at stuff? Practice. No problem, Jose. Oh yeah, Mohammed. When you're not in game state. Yeah. Yeah, if you're using the other game state, the reason why is because you have to do this. So if you use the game state, not game state base, there's certain steps a game state goes through in order to trigger the game. And in yeah, I don't know now. You have to do. Oh, you have to do something else. I really can't remember now. There's something you have to do. I can't remember for the life of me what it is. Start. You basically have to take the start the game. But yeah, use game state base. It solves that for you. Gaming Plus. Hello, what's the best way to learn how to write gameplay systems, such as an inventory system, dialogue systems, and others that are common in games? I always depend on tutorials. Any advice? So my advice for that is try to understand and learn the common design of those different systems. Okay, so I actually done a video for my patron members on my website where I describe this exact thing for inventory systems. So for example, with an inventory system, all inventories in every single game are going to be one of two things. You're going to be an array or a map. Okay, that is it. If you want it ordered, then you use an array. If you want it not ordered, a map is fine. But ordered, I mean, it matters what slot the item is in. So, for example, Minecraft is an ordered array of items. But if you're not bothered by that, then it'd be something like Final Fantasy, for example, like RPGs type games, like Skyrim, for example. They are unordered. You can't order them around, and you can't do anything like that. It'll just describe them in like a big list. So all inventories are either an array or a map based on those demands. And then the functions you build around that ultimately come down to what your needs are for that inventory. Okay, so you're also going to need to add to inventory. So you're going to have like a function called add to inventory. Then you're going to need to probably remove from inventory. You may have to do a transfer between inventories. Okay, and you're slowly building these things up. Okay, but you're looking for these sort of patterns in the way their things are designed. And so inventory systems are designed just like that. Okay. If you're talking about dialogue systems, again, depends if the dialogue is like a branching dialogue. But dialogue systems are basically a flow chart. Okay, it's literally like goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 and goes that way. Okay, and you may have like forking paths where it branches and things like that, but ultimately it's still a flow chart. And it may loop back round, it may finish, it might terminate, whatever it may do. But that is the system itself. And then it's up to you how you want to solve that problem. Okay, you can use a CSV file, for example, and do like a simple checklist of lines it has to do. You could also do a behavior tree system, like I did for my advanced dialogue system, okay, which is basically a very visual flowchart method. There's loads of ways you can actually accomplish this, but it's up to you. Once you know that that's the pattern of this system, and that all games have that same thing, because that's the only way you really can do it. It's up to you then to design around that, and that does come with practice, and that does come with trial and error. You will make mistakes, and you'll learn about better ways of doing stuff. But ultimately, that's the starting point. You want to start there, and then you can start working on different. Like if you look at all the videos I've done and different series I've done where I had to make an inventory for the series, you notice they're all slightly different in different ways. Okay, and that's not on purpose. That is to show that there's no set way to make anything, but you'll notice there are common elements, and they all either follow a map or an array, for example. And so that commonality should be clear from all the tutorials you're following. So look for what's common, and then you know that that's the starting point. And once you go from there, then it's up to you. Ronnie Anderson, I must be asking too broad a question about making C++ equivalent to blueprints. But it would be awesome if you did more C++ stuff. Thanks for videos on. Yeah, I do want to make more videos on C++. The only reason why I haven't done so far is because when it comes to C++ stuff, you should really only be doing it when you're comfortable to work with C++ in general. Before going into Unreal's special C++ syntax. Once you're comfortable with C++ in general, then chances are you can already figure out how to do Unreal Engine source engine stuff. Not too complicated once you know how C++. So normally the advice is to someone, go learn C++ and then tackle Unreal. And then by then they're pretty confident with it to do so. Now, granted, there are some elements that are specific to Unreal, and I will be doing tutorials at some point in the future about those. But yeah, that's generally what it is. And another reason why you don't see it much on the channel, and also just not much on YouTube in general, is the people who are looking for tutorials and help in making stuff like this will follow video tutorials because they're new to games or new to programming, new to game development, and so they're going to want the easier way, using like blueprints, for example. And C++ can be quite daunting, but chances are when you get to that point where you are ready to use C++, you don't need tutorials because you can probably figure it out on your own. Okay. Meg Twin, can an event dispatcher only be called once? No, it can be called as many times as you like. Once it's been bound, you can call it whatever you want. Clug. Yeah, and also it takes longer to make in C++. Clug, if you're making a multiplayer battle royale with abilities instead of weapons, would you put all the code for the abilities on an actor for each ability or the player pawn? I would put it on each actor, each ability on its own actor, as it is going to save you so much headache when you want to change stuff later on. It makes it a lot easier to replicate, makes it a lot easier to manage in general. So that would be the way to do it. It's similar to when you're making guns. Yeah, like if you're making a load of guns for your game, you don't put the guns properties on the player, you put the guns properties on the gun. So same for the abilities, like fireball, the properties for the fireball are going to be on the fireball, properties for the thunder can be on the thunder, and so on and so forth. But yeah, and other things with that is that if you want to buff someone with an ability, you can just attach the ability to the player, that player, and then they've got a buff or debuff on them. And it's there, just literally attached to them, like a bit of Velcro, and so forth. But yeah, that kind of brings us to the end of today's question time. So thank you very much everyone for joining us for question time. If I didn't get to answer your question, I apologize, but we'll try and do this again every single Wednesday. It's been a bit sporadic lately, but I really do hope to get this back to a weekly thing. But yeah, thank you so much for your time and thank you for your questions. If you'd like to see this video on video on demand, head over to patreon.com/RyanLady, where patrons will be able to watch it straight after the live stream. Everyone else will get it a couple of weeks later. So thank you so much all my patrons and YouTube members for their continued support. It really is amazing, guys, that you are supporting me and the channel. It's a dream come true. So thank you so much. But that's it for me. Have a great evening, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone.